Well, hello, my lovely friends. For the first time, I've actually managed to get a few hours to myself, which has been a rare treat nowadays. But what I wanted to do was, first of all, I lost a friend St. George's Day, and I'm not going to lie to you, it knocked me off my feet for a couple of days. But I remember she said to me, never stop fighting for what's right, for my children, and for all the future generations of children. So with that in mind, I will never stop fighting for what's right. Now, as most of you are aware, and if you're not, then I'm sure it won't take much for you to find this out. I'm standing for election for Police and Crime Commissioner. The elections are on May the 5th. You can vote on May the 5th. Anybody in the Bedfordshire area, please get out and vote. Now, there are many reasons why I stood, and most of it came down to the political correct, excuse my language, but bullshit that we have had foisted upon us at every given opportunity. Now, for anybody who's not aware, I have got my notes with me, which I've had to carry around with me almost like a Bible. And some things I'm sure people were aware of, and some maybe not. Now, what I noticed was that every candidate that I came across were actually playing and pandering to the community. Most of the hustings that took place in Luton. So obviously most of your listeners on the radio were Muslim people. So it was very easy for them to attempt to try and smear me as being Islamophobic or racist. None of these words mean anything to me anymore because they are wasted on me, and they're wasted on most people. I think we're all at the point now where we know that they're just words to try and shut you up. And if they're trying to shut you up, it's because of what you're saying is actually true. And the first thing that I pulled up was this. Now, for anybody who hasn't seen this, you can get it. It's on my website. This is a list for the police. Now, Ollie tried to... The incumbent, which is the acting Police and Crime Commissioner that there is right now in Bedfordshire, tried to use the argument, are you saying we should put all victims in the same bracket? And I told him, and I will say the same to everybody right now, these guidelines are not here to protect victims. These guidelines shackle our police by telling them that they must, before entering a Muslim property, they must cover their feet, their shoes, but only if they can be sure that the coverlets stay clean. They're not permitted to step on a prayer mat. They must wait outside and allow time for a Muslim woman to cover her hair. And they cannot touch a Quran or a religious artifact without permission. Now, they're all here. They're here. I'm not making them up. They're all here. Now, the reason I take umbrance to it is not because I don't think that there should be an element of respect. Of course, there should be an element of respect for anybody, regardless of what faith they are. I actually think that our police officers know how to be respectful. I think our police officers know how to show courteousness and politeness. I have a lot of faith in the police officers that do their job well. Well, when you give them guidelines like that, what you are saying to them is, these are your rules. These are the rules you must follow. Nobody should have a set of guidelines. And as I said to the incumbent, if these guidelines you're saying, right, they do exist, please acknowledge that. So why is there no guidelines for the Sikh community, the Hindu community, the non-Muslim community, Christian community, like the Jedis? That they see themselves, they class themselves as that's their religion, to be a Jedi. Why is there no guidelines for them? Because there's pandering. Now, most Muslims will tell you themselves they don't need these guidelines. If a family is committing a crime and our police have to go and investigate, their job is to go in and get the evidence, that's what they have to do. If there's a possibility that that family is involved in extremism or plans of terrorism or drugs or guns or anything else, rape, whatever it may be. Maybe they've beaten somebody up in a brawl. Our police have a job to do. We should not be hindering our police officers. That hinders our police officers. Now, that is my opinion, and I stand by it. If that offends people, your offence is taken, not given. My intention is not to offend you. Because when I went along to a hustings last night, and then I went along to meet the black community. And when I said, I don't want there to be this, you have the Muslim community and the Jewish community and this community and that. We are one community. We might be multicoloured, but we are one community. And I was accused of coming in and acting like the white blonde-haired woman who comes in and kind of takes pity. No, I don't. Not at all. That's the whole point. You are my equal and I am your equal. The difference between me and every other candidate standing, I am just a member of the public. This is a job open to anybody, who, whether they be a member of the public or a political politician. The difference is all of these other people are career politicians. They are. Now, I then called Ollie out on his judgment. Because, and I'll tell you for why, £600,000 was wasted on a referendum. £600,000. Then in Kempston, there was a brand new reception area built. But while he's building that, he's closed all the little small police stations in surrounding areas. Why did you just not use the money to make them operational so that we actually could get the best use out of them? Because by doing that, small areas in the surrounding areas are actually, there's no police presence, no visible presence whatsoever. He promised 500 special constables. I believe he's achieved 8. I would be realistic and try and achieve at least 100. He had a petition up. He managed 12,038 signatures. We have Woburn Abbey. We have Whipsnade Zoo. We have motorways up and down throughout Bedfordshire, where that petition could have easily reached 100,000 signatures, as well as online. It was achievable and doable. He didn't do it. And then I started to look at his judgments and some of his poor judgments. Now, he was investigated and given a written warning for exposing confidential information with regards to the death of Leon Briggs. Now, his words were, let he without sin cast the first stone. Well, he tried to pull me up for tweets that were or may not have been tweets I sent 4 years ago. Let he without sin, Ollie. I was a member of the public, not a police crime commissioner. You in your position should have understood confidentiality. I, as Joe Public, understand confidentiality. Then I looked at other things, right? So I made a note of some of the things that really sort of smacked me in the face. Labour candidate, or Labour MP, I believe she was certainly part of Labour, Isabel Gerbetz, suspended due to her anti-Semitic comments. Taheen Shafarif, forced to quit after she tried to gag a court in Cousin's love triangle murder trial. She tried to nobble the court. Colette Paul, who was his chief constable, took unexpected retirement to get married, which meant you had to get another one, which is why we now have one, John Boucher. And I'm sure he's very good at his job. He also said that the reason he wouldn't resign when he failed on the referendum and he failed on the petition, the reason he wouldn't resign, he said, was because it would cost the public $1 million. So why are you standing again then? If you were going to resign, it's because you didn't think you were doing the job right. But you didn't resign because it was going to cost the public money. So why stand again? Is it just so that you could cost the public a bit more money? And these might sound like these are harsh criticism, but they're all genuine. Some of the other things that I've got here, trust me now, I have paperwork coming out of my ears. Now, some of the other things that I picked up on, I made notes of. So, here is my rundown of, that's another fine mess you got us into, Ollie. So here we go. Ollie Martins, the sitting Labour Crime Commissioner for Bedfordshire, has been a disaster for the people of Bedfordshire. Yes, he has. Last year, he wasted $600,000 on a failed referendum to increase your council tax to pay for more police. The result was not even close. By losing the referendum, he made it look like there was no public support for the greater funding for the police of Bedfordshire. He undermined the case for greater funding, and now he claims he didn't know the rules on how the referendum was to be held and blames government ministers for telling him to hold the referendum. It was his fault and his waste of money, and a buck stops with him. Whether he likes it or not, it does. Bedfordshire Police are short on funds, yet he managed to prioritise a new reception at police headquarters in Kempston. Ollie launched a petition to put pressure on the government to increase the budget fund for Bedfordshire. Complete flop. Like I said, 12,038 signatures, you need 100,000. The Police and Crime Commissioner is responsible for appointing a Chief Constable. Ollie Martins appointed Colette Paul, but she resigned and left the force only after 2 years in the role. This suggests that the wrong person was appointed in that position. Police and Crime Commissioner also appointed a Deputy Commissioner, Taheen Sharif. She had to resign after interfering in a legal case involving her cousin and one of her boyfriends being blasted in the legs with a shotgun. Cassie. One appointee resigns, shame on them. 2 appointee resigns, shame on Holly. He also announced last year that he would double the number of special constables in Bedfordshire from 250 to 500. So far, he's managed to recruit 8. That's not good, is it? In 2014, Ollie was investigated by the Independent Police Commission and was given a written warning for disclosing confidential information about a highly sensitive and important nature of the death of in police custody. He blabbed over dinner to his boyfriend, and his partner went on to discuss the case to a third party. We don't know how many other people. Now, where's the respect for the man's family? You know, the man had died. Don't tell me you don't understand the sensitive nature of that, because I think you do. Under his regime, there have been a dangerous rise in religious extremism, and he's failed to address the matter. His reaction to this is to attend an anti-Israeli demo in Luton. Now, the reason I find that a little bit laughable and a bit of a joke, I'll tell you why. Now, I don't think mass street demonstrations are probably the way forward. Maybe they're not. But how is it that you complained of the thousands it was costing the police to police these demonstrations, but stood up as Police and Crime Commissioner and condemned Israel for its actions? But when I sent you something that was linked to a girl who had been raped by 200 Muslim men, your words were, haven't you noticed, Tony? We're in Bedfordshire, not Manchester. Well, I don't want to point out the obvious, Ollie, but we're in England, not Israel. So why you were attending that and speaking on the behalf of every police officer in Bedfordshire is beyond me, because I'm sure many may not share your sentiments. Just my opinion. Under his reign, Ollie's Labour Party have incorporated extreme Islamists into its ranks, such as disgraced Luton Labour councillor Isaac Elmbers, who made a series of anti-Jewish tweets which have resulted in an allegation of hate crime being made to the police. That's another fine mess, Ollie. So these are just some of the things. Some. And it is only some. Now, when I went to the people at Diverse last night, they were lovely, actually, really nice people, and it was good to have a good debate. I like a good debate. Even though they actually see me as the underdog, and they're probably right, I am the underdog. I'm probably the one that they think doesn't have a chance. But do you know what? Never underestimate the power of people. People power is a stronger thing than you can think, than you could ever imagine. So, the word that kept coming out continuously, when they referred to hate crimes, the only word that came out was Islamophobia. 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 Well, you've got people under your reign that are anti-Semitic. What about hate crimes perpetrated against non-Muslims, by Muslims? It does happen. We cannot keep pretending that it doesn't happen. It does. I then was pulled up because I had made a comment. I was asked my personal opinion by Beds on Sunday with regards to the burqa. Would I ban it? I stand wholeheartedly by my reply. Yes, I would. Now, the Conservative candidate took real umbrance to the fact that I said I would ban the burqa. And he said, you know, people have a right to wear what they want for their religious, cultural background. First of all, let's get it right. The burqa is not a religious requirement. It is not. And by you backing it, Have you any idea how many Muslim women do not want to wear it? And by you backing it, you are imposing it upon them. Now that's one thing, but my biggest issue with it, if you commit a crime, I want to be able to recognise your face. If I turn around and said that my religion was Jediism, would it be okay for me to walk around looking like Chewbacca? Or maybe I'd be wearing a Darth Vader outfit with the helmet over. No, they would want to see my face. Rightly so. A man in Watford committed a crime where they had to detonate a bag, a satchel. He was wearing a burqa. Wasn't a Muslim, but he was wearing a burqa. Had he absconded and managed to discard the burqa, nobody would have known who he was because nobody could have seen his face. Then you've got the jewellery attacks in London where they hit jewellery stores wearing the burqa. This isn't about my attack on Muslim women. Far, far, far from it. This is about the fact it is an identity and a security risk. Their answer is, well, everybody will be identified by their religion. Well, I'm an atheist. Have I got to state that? Will that help you identify me if my face is fully covered then? Or do you only want to pander to one community? See, I see us as one community. You want to pick out sections. You are being divisive with your attitudes, and I, for one, am sick of the divisions amongst the communities. We are one community. We are one country. Now, very briefly, and I'm going to touch on this very, very briefly, what I found is a lot of question that is asked to me a lot is why the English Democrats and what are the English Democrats about? So I'm going to make this as quick and as short and as brief and as to the point as I can. Why did I choose the English Democrats over any other party? Now, I could have gone to any other party and been a part of any other party. I know this. I chose English Democrats because England is treated like a second-rate person. Like we don't matter as much as the rest of the United Kingdom. So we're a bit like the auntie. You all wanted to pay for the wedding, but nobody wants to invite her because she's an embarrassment. That is how England is treated. Now, the Welsh have the Welsh Assembly, the Irish have theirs, Scotland have their Parliament. They all get to make decisions on the laws in England. There is no English Parliament. There is no voice for the English. And if you say you're English, you must be racist. Well, no, we're not. We're not racist. Far from it. If we were, Winston Mackenzie would not be an English Democrat, but he is. So, that was my brief rundown on that's another fine mess you got us into, Ali. If I win, then I will get rid of political correct policing. And our police officers will be able to do their job equally and fairly for everybody. With no special rights. We want equal rights, not special rights. So, it's been a very long time. And as you can probably see, I'm looking a little bit bedraggled because I am absolutely worn out. So I'm going to finish my cup of tea. I will raise a glass to my friend. It's a sad loss, but you're in here and you're in here and you'll remain there. And very quickly before I do go, for all of those who want to criticise me, that are candidates, how many of you have gone out on a limb to take in a Muslim woman fleeing for her life, or to help her get an annulment for a fraudulent marriage, a fake marriage fraud, or giving your support to a woman who was forced in this country to marry her rapist? See, I deal with that and I support those women 100%. So you can take your race tag and you can put it somewhere where it actually belongs, which is probably with you, because you're the ones that keep making this about race, not me. I make it about human beings, people first over politicians. And that's why I stood, and that's why I've challenged you, and that's why I will continue to challenge you. And even if I don't win, by Christ, I gave you a run for your money, and by Christ, you better be ready for the next term, because I will give you another run for your money, and I'll know a lot more then than I know right now. So I'll be an even bigger threat to you. So on that note, everybody take care. Speak to you all real soon. Bye.